Okay, so this is not going to be such a quick video. Normally I try to make my videos as quick as possible, but this one's not because it's a very sensitive subject and hopefully a learning subject for someone, because it was for me. And as the title said, I had a negligent discharge. And before I tell you exactly what happened, I have three guns in front of me. So I have the Glock, and this is a Glock 43, and that is unloaded, no magazine. I have a Ruger SP101 357 Magnum, unloaded, and I have a North American Arms 22 Magnum, also unloaded. Okay, so before I go any further, which one do you think I had the negligent discharge with? The one with the really hairpin trigger, because I had a trigger job on this one. You think I had it with this 357 where you just gotta tap it and it goes off? Do you think I had it with the dangerous Glock that has no safety on it, where so you could just basically pull the trigger and it goes off? Or do you think I had it with this little guy over here, which is just a single action and could go off? So take your pick and let's see if you're right. All right, give you 3 seconds. Well, I'll tell you what, it wasn't this one and it wasn't this one. It was the North American Arms 22 Magnum. And here's what happened. I basically was at the range, and if you guys have seen this gun, you know that this is a 5-shot mini revolver. I've had it for a couple of years. I use it all the time. It shoots 22 long rifle or 22 Magnum, and I carry it as a backup gun, and it's a fantastic gun. It's an excellent quality gun, and I messed up. And to be honest with you, you know, there are two types of discharges. There's accidental and negligent. Accidental is where most likely it's a mechanical failure. So an accidental would be, once again, clear gun. Accidental would be if you have like a firing pin that's out of place, and sometimes you rack the slide and a round will go off just by racking the slide without even your finger on the trigger. Other times there's other mechanical things that could happen, and that's it. But a negligent discharge is due to the owner, myself, moi, that has made a mistake, and these things happen. And here's the big thing though. We all know the rules of firearm safety. They must be followed at all times, and I always follow them, and I've been shooting guns for decades. I've had guns since I was a kid, quite frankly. And, you know, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Always know what your target is and what's beyond it. Always point your gun in a safe direction. And always treat all firearms as if they're loaded. So let me just show you exactly what happened. I was at the range and I was shooting a couple of guns, and then I said, oh, I'll take a couple of quick pops with this one here, because I always like to shoot all my guns, you know, treat them equally. And what I'll do is I'll show you how this works. So again, this might be a long video, but I just want to teach you, even if you don't have this gun, you know, some proper things. Okay, so this is the cylinder of the 22 North American Arms, and as you see, there are 5 cylinders, and then there are 5 little notches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you see those like that, those little notches. So what that means is you put your 5 rounds in, and then you rest your hammer on a empty notch, and therefore it's now safe to carry. So when you load the gun, as I have these snap caps in it right now, you load the gun, which is not the quickest thing to do. That's why, you know, this is a backup gun. This is not meant to be fired and then reloaded again. It's meant to last ditch situation. You have your rounds in it. If your other guns fail or whatever, you can't get to them, you take this out and bang, you know, do what you got to do. Anyway, so what happened is I was shooting this gun, and I said, oh, let me put a few rounds through it. So I did a couple of cylinders, and then I was getting ready to leave the range. Now, as I said, if you look closely, there is those safety notches in it. So now the hammer should always rest on a safety notch. So if you spin the cylinder right here, and I hope the camera's picking it up. It's supposed to drop down on that safety cylinder. Now, the hammer is not touching the rim of a live round. And here is a rim right here of a live round, and this is the one that I had a negligent discharge with. So I'm going to save this one, and it'll be a reminder to myself that things could happen to the best of us. So I'm not embarrassed about it. It's just something that happened, but luckily I followed all the safety rules. My first point was I had the gun pointed in a safe direction. So even though, and I'm going to turn sideways, but let's say that's the range right ahead of me and my target is, on the target stand in front of me, whenever you're dealing with a gun or doing anything, you can turn your body sideways, but your gun should still be facing downrange. I see a lot of people at the shooting range that have a malfunction and their gun is over here and they're slapping it and they're doing this, therefore aiming at the person to their left or to the right. So what happened was I put the 5.22 Magnums in, and I was gonna, pack it up to go home. And I figured I'll load it up before I go home. And even though I was gonna clean it, so that was really not necessary. But then what happened was I didn't have my glasses, and this is what happens when you hit 50. You have a hard time seeing close up. So without having my glasses on, I had the chamber, and I was trying to get it to rest on one of those safety notches. So if you look at this gun, you could have it resting on a live round just like that, which is dangerous. That means if you hit this, and I'm turning it sideways so it's on the camera, but at the range it was that way. So if you have it resting on a rim of the rimfire cartridge, if something hits this or it drops, it could go off, and we don't want that to happen. So I had it down range, and I was like, okay, let me get that safety slot, and I didn't have my glasses on. So basically, to move this, you got to pull the trigger, as you see, and you got to get it just to line up inside that notch. Now, if you could see, again, I'm sorry, the camera is not the best. I didn't have it just in that notch, and I was like this, and I had the gun just like this, and I said, oh, I think it's in that notch. Again, didn't have my glasses on, and then all I did was that, and guess what happened? Bang. And no one noticed because I actually hit the target, which was kind of funny, 25 feet away. No one noticed, no one came over, the place was packed, no one said anything, they just thought I was still shooting, but I certainly noticed. And my hand was here, luckily it wasn't here or here, because I'd be fingerless right now. So that's an interesting learning experience, and quite frankly, it shocked the hell out of me. I didn't expect it to happen. So again, if I could just, let me see if I could zoom. If I could just show you, you have those notches. So let's see if you could see them. You have those safety notches that I showed you, and you could see the red inside, which is the live round, and then you have the safety notch. So once again, I thought I had it in the safety notch, and I went like this, and just that little bit, and you can see it's an ever so slight, see that? Let's see if I could focus. Ever so slight primer strike on that. And I had, other ones when it's a full cock like that and it hits it, it really makes a very big dent in the primer. This is just a teeny tiny little primer strike on it, but it was enough to detonate. And 22 Magnum definitely could have done some damage. But here's the point. None of us are infallible. We could all make mistakes, and I'm doing this video just to teach you guys, no matter how long you've been shooting guns, it could happen to you. There is an old saying, there's two types of gun owners. Those people who have had a negligent discharge and those people that will have a negligent discharge. And after decades, I finally had one. And it's funny, recently, one of my subscribers asked me, have you ever had one? And I said, no. And lo and behold, a week later, I actually had one. But again, the most important thing was the firearm was faced downrange. I wasn't blocking the muzzle. I knew what my target was and what was beyond it. and that was it, because I could have been aiming up and I could have hit the ceiling. I could have been, well, I would never do this, but I could have had it sideways and hit someone else, and then, you know, I would have, quite frankly, turned all my guns in, because if I would have accidentally hit someone, I would consider myself to be a moron, and I would really give all my guns away, and that would be the end. So anyway, quick story. I will save this forever. This is my negligent discharge story. I hope it never happens again, but I just want to say, follow all the rules of gun safety. Treat all guns as if they're loaded. Always point it in a safe direction. Even if you don't have all 5 of the safety rules followed, you'd have to really break, you know, a couple of them. And, you know, so hopefully that doesn't happen. I know this is long, and that's it. So for now on, what I will be doing is, if I shoot this at the range and I don't have my cheater glasses, which let me see up close, I will shoot it at the range. When I'm done, I will take the empty shells out, put them away, and I will just put the gun like this in the bag and take it home, which I have to clean it anyway when I get home, and then I will load it and then make sure with my glasses on that it is in that safety notch. And again, close up of the safety notch, you could see it right there. So safe, 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 safe. Unsafe, 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 unsafe. 5 slots, and that's it. So, and the other most important thing is too, you know, when you're carrying a gun, have it in a holster and always have that trigger covered. So a lot of people have negligent discharge, and that's it. So that's it. I just want to share this with you. Hopefully someone could learn something. It just means never get so overconfident with yourself that you think you're better than anyone else with the gun, because we're not. And that's it. So just be safe. And if you guys have any negligent discharge stories, I would love to hear. Again, you know, hopefully this will be the one that I had in my lifetime, and that's it. So, all right, thanks very much for listening, and I hope I don't get hate from North American Arms owners, because I'm not knocking the gun at all. I love the gun. I think it's a fantastic quality piece of machinery, and it was 100% my fault. So, you know, I'll probably get some people, you know, oh, you're a dummy and blah, blah, blah. So I could care less. It was an honest mistake. No one was hurt. That's the most important thing. All right. Thanks very much for watching.